The craziness that continues to spiral out of the Joe Biden administration, they won't let COVID go. The fact that the vast majority of people in the country have moved on. COVID is now the 7th or 8th leading cause of death in this country. If you want to be as healthy as you possibly could be, you need to be working out, you need to be eating healthy, you need to be making good health decisions for you and your family. COVID is way down on the list of dangers that you might face right now. But the Biden administration will not allow COVID to ride off into the sunset. They now are talking about door-to-door vaccine checks. Remember, initially it was 2 weeks to stop the spread. That was all the way back in March of 2020. Now, as I sit talking to you in July of 2021, we are talking about the government sending out people to knock on your door and check and see if you have received the COVID vaccine. This is madness. Look, I've been straightforward and transparent as I could possibly be. If you are over 65 years old and you are unhealthy, or you are obese, or you are unhealthy in general, I think you should go get the COVID vaccine. I've told you that. My parents did it. My elderly relatives did it. It's a no-brainer. But if you are young and healthy, or you're like me and you've already had COVID, or God forbid you have children, I don't think it makes sense based on the danger for anybody out there to go get a COVID vaccine. That's my personal opinion. Now, again, age and risk factors should be analyzed here as it pertains to COVID. I've told you, I already had COVID. I had zero issues with COVID, as most relatively young and healthy people do, okay? I tested positive for COVID. Actually, I never tested positive for COVID. I know I have COVID antibodies. Only one day in the past 2 years have I had a fever, and I believe I had COVID then. One day, I didn't feel 100%, but I still was pretty normal, right? Felt like a 24-hour bug at most, and then it was over, okay? I still have COVID antibodies. But this idea that people might knock on my door and check to see if I got the COVID vaccine and encourage other people in my house to get the COVID vaccine, the idea that we want 12-year-olds to be getting COVID vaccine, I've got a 13-year-old. He's not getting the COVID vaccine. I've got a 10-year-old. He's not getting the COVID vaccine. 6-year-old as well. I'm not anti-vax. I believe in vaccines for illnesses that are dangerous to my children, but COVID is not one of them, okay? Make your choices. The idea that the government's going to be sending out people to knock on your door, to me, is absolutely madness.